The shir is dedicated to Zecha Nishmas Rachaleya Bas Rav Chaim Tzvi. The last year, we began to speak about the concept of B'nai HaNeviim. In order for one to become a Navi, it's not something that happens overnight. It's not something that happens instantaneously. A Navi, of course, is a developed personality, one that emerges after tremendous toil and exertion. A Navi is someone who's Meshamesh, generally another Navi, and thereby is able to, so to speak, learn the ropes and go to school for an extended period of time till one becomes a Navi. We examined carefully the evolution of Yeshua ben Nun as he became a Navi under the tutelage of Moshe Rabbeinu, the Adon HaNeviim. We saw how initially Yeshua essentially was, as Chazal described him, a Tiron ben Nevuah, a tyrant, Tyron, that is to say, a novice, and he had to undergo a series of different experiences in the course of becoming a Navi. We saw how initially the Ramban writes in Parshas Kisisa, when Moshe Rabbeinu and Yeshua ben Nun both came down from Har Sinai, there we have the reaction of Yeshua ben Nun to what's happening, and the reaction of Moshe Rabbeinu. And the Ramban refers to a Medrash, that the Medrash comments that Moshe Rabbeinu said to Yeshua, Misha Hasi Lahanig Es Yisrael Enu Mavchin Min Kol Lekol. Yeshua saw Kol Milchama B'Machaneh. Moshe Rabbeinu said, no, Ein Kol Anos, but rather Kol Chirufim V'Gidufim Klapi Malos. The Targum translates Kol Anos Anochi Shomea. So at that point, Yeshua was not yet Bashel, was not yet ripe to become the Manig Yisrael, to be the Navi par excellence that he became subsequently. And in fact, this concept is one which runs throughout Tanakh. The notion that there are B'nai HaNeviim, and in order for one to become a Navi, one has to, in effect, go through a kind of finishing school, a kind of training, a kind of chinuch, before one is roi, before one is zocheh, to become a Navi. In the beginning of this year, we're going to examine another example, another very characteristic example of B'nai HaNeviim, and that is the relationship between Eliyahu HaNavi and Elisha, his Talmud. Elisha, of course, is the Talmud par excellence of Eliyahu HaNavi, and even though the Hachshara, the preparation that was involved in Elisha becoming a Navi is considerably shorter, at least in terms of how it is described in Tanakh, than that of Yeshua ben Nun. But here also we see that already during the lifetime of Achav, Elisha was appointed as a Navi. The entire story that's told to us in Tanakh, the story of the Kerem, of Navas HaYisraeli, and this is before the Milchama, where Achav was Nifter, where Achav passed away. And there's also 2 years, again, a bit later, where we have the Histalkus of Eliyahu HaNavi during the days of Yehoram. So here, we have Eliyahu and Elisha, and in a similar vein to the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu and Yeshua ben Nun, as Chazal tell us, even though one is the Talmud Muvak, namely Yeshua is the Talmud Muvak of Moshe Rabbeinu, Yeshua ben Nun nar l'yomish b'toch ha'oel, and undoubtedly the Rebbe is able to be manik, not just to give smicha to Yeshua ben Nun, but also the Rebbe, in effect, endows him with many, many qualities and many, many tchunos, but still, each Navi has his own signal. Each Navi has his own style, his own approach, and therefore, Eliyahu, as we know, his signal is one of Eish, is one of Sa'ara V'Sufa, one of tempest and whirlwind. Eliyahu appears as someone who's a takif, and Elisha goes more with the Midas HaRachamim, goes more with Mayim, as opposed to the Midas Hadin of his Rebbe, of Eliyahu HaNavi. The Eish of Eliyahu, that's Eilu Lamala, that's Misraimim, that Eish is very much in stark contrast to the style, to the signon of Elisha HaNavi, which is more comparable to Mayim, that's Yered Lamata, and that creates more of a chibur. Elisha, we see, is more mischaber with people, has a greater and stronger chibur than his Rebbe, Eliyahu HaNavi. Eliyahu HaNavi, we have a number of encounters where it's a kind of big bang, if you will, lahavdil, and then he sort of simply departs from the scene, and Elisha is much more mechubar to Anashim, and this again is one of the distinctions between Eliyahu Hanavi and his Talmud Elisha. In the original encounter between Eliyahu and Elisha, we find in Melachim Aleph, in Perek Yutes, where the Navi describes that encounter in the following way. Here, in Perek Yutes, towards the end of the Perek, so the Navi describes in Melachim Aleph, Perek Yutes, Pasuk Yutes, after HaKadosh Baruch Hu has appeared to Eliyahu Hanavi, we have a story of Eliyahu Hanavi running before Achav in the beginning of Perek Yutes, and Achav telling his wife